Take your fabric and lie it out with the right side facing up. Right side meaning the side that will be shown on the outside. Take the fabric and fold it over the way that it stretches. Take the bikini bottoms or underwear that you will be using as a pattern and fold them as well. Lie these on the fold of your fabric. Now you want to pin the bottoms to your fabric so that when you are cutting out your fabric, it won't move. Now for all of my beginners, you will want to take a ruler and measure a ½ inch around the entire piece. Then you will cut it out. You can mark it with chalk, a pen, pencil, whatever you have handy. For my more intermediate sewers, you can just pretty much eyeball it like I'm doing here. Now you can unpin your bottoms from the fabric, but you will want to pin the fabric piece into place so that it remains perfectly folded in half. You do this because you will need to use this piece to cut out another identical piece. Take your fabric and fold it exactly how you did the first time. Take the piece that you already cut and line it up with the fold. I advise that you pin it down, but I won't. I'm just going to cut around it. Now you have two pieces that are exactly the same. These two pieces will be used for the back of your bikini bottom. Pin those together so you don't misplace them and set them to the side. This part got cut from my camera, but you're pretty much taking a pencil and gently marking through to trace the front curve of your bottoms. Now go back and trace along the markings that you made through your bottoms to form the pattern for the front part of your bikini bottom. Now we're going to cut this out. Right fold along the inside so you remember that you place that part on the fold of your fabric. Place it on the fold of your fabric and you're going to want to place several pins in it to keep it steady. I'm using a cardboard mat, so I just stick the pins in, but you can pin it like we pinned it before. You're going to want to mark a ½ inch around the top, side, and around the curve of the bottom. Again, if you're intermediate, you don't really have to mark, you can just eyeball it and cut a ½ inch around. Pin the fabric so it stays perfectly folded just like we did the first piece. You're going to want to make an identical piece of this as well. Once your fabric is folded again, you're going to want to place your first piece on top of the fabric so you can cut out your second piece. Now you're going to cut around this piece until you have two identical pieces. These pieces will be used as the front of your bikini bottom. Pin these two pieces together so they don't get separated. Now if you already have a bikini that you love, you can use this to decide how big to make the triangle for your bikini. You can lay it down and trace it out, but I will just be pretty much guessing on mine. Mark a line going straight down the paper. I did mine 6 inches. I am a baby B cup, so 6 by 9 was the perfect measurement for me. Cut out your triangle, and you're going to want to place it on your fabric, which should be facing right side up. Cut the triangle out after you've pinned it to your fabric. Remember, you want to go a 1/2 inch out all the way around. My scissors are dull, by the way, so that's why I'm cutting kind of weird. Unpin the paper from your fabric. You want to flip your triangle over and cut out an identical piece. Now you will repeat this process 2 more times until you have 4 identical triangles. Pin 2 triangles together, right sides facing each other, and repeat for the second set of triangles. Now we're going to cut out the long strips of fabric for our strings. I will give you the measurements for those. Lie out your 2 bottom pieces and put them together with the right sides or the outsides facing each other. I have the top pin here, but you don't want to do that just yet. Just pin along both sides. Also pin along both sides of the front. Again, ignore the top. I shouldn't have pinned that. With the right sides of the fabric facing each other, you want to pin along both sides of each of your pieces for your bikini top. You want to pin all the way up until about a 1/2 inch away from the top. Take a pin to mark a 1/2 inch so you don't sew past that point. Sewing a 1/2 inch away from the edge, you want to sew along both sides of your bikini bottom back, pulling the fabric slightly as you sew to allow some stretch. And don't forget your back stitches at the end and the beginning. And you'll repeat the same for your front piece. And when you're done, there should be a hole left at the bottom of the front and the back piece. Do not stitch these up. Now we're going to sew up the long strips for our strings. You want to take them right side facing up and fold it to where the right sides are facing each other. Line the fold up with the presser foot. You're going to sew all the way down to the end, pulling slightly as you go. This will allow your strings to stretch, so when you try to pull them later, you won't pop stitches. Lay your string out, and you will want to cut off the extra fabric on the other side of your seam, not on the folded side. You will repeat this for all of your long strips. Now we're going to want to turn them inside out. This is a loop turner. If you do not have one of these, I will show you an alternative way using a safety pin. Using the loop turner, you will want to slide it all the way through to the other end of your strip. You want to hook the latch onto the end and slide it through, pulling on the loop. Gently slide the fabric in one direction while pulling the loop turner in the other. This will invert your strip. Keep pulling until your string is all the way turned to the outside. Using a safety pin is quite similar. You want to unhook it and stick it through one side of one end of your strip. Pin it back, and you want to push it down into your strip. Now you want to slide it all the way through, pulling the fabric in the opposite direction as you go. Take your time because you don't want to pop your seams. Keep pulling until your safety pin comes out the other end. Pull until your string is completely inverted. Remove your safety pin. Now you should have 8 of these strips for your bikini bottom. You should have 2 strips for the top that will tie around your neck and 1 long strip that will tie under your bust. Now you're going to fold 1 layer back and take one of your strips. You want to line it up with the left edge as close to the seam at the bottom as possible. Now you want to pin that down. Now you're going to want to take another one and do the same about a ½ an inch away from the top, still lined up with the side of the bikini bottom. Now you will want to grab the ends of your strings and tuck them down through the bottom hole that you left. Do not pull tight, this is just to get them out of the way. Now you're going to want to repeat the same for the other side. Now you will want to pin the front to the back of your back piece. Start by pinning at the top. Then remove the pin that you have holding your string into place, but still hold your string into place. Now take your pin and stick it through all 3 layers. Repeat this for your other string. You can stick 1 more pin in the middle as well. Now simply repeat the same for the other side. Now you will want to take both sides through your sewing machine, sewing 5/8 of an inch away from the edge. Now you will sew across the top of your bikini, making sure that your strings are still out of the way. Pull gently as you sew to allow a slight stretch. This is optional, but I like to clip notches, which are triangles, in the corners of the sides of my bathing suit. This just allows it to flip out a little cleaner. I also like to trim a little closer to the seam along the sides of my bathing suit. Now just trim off any extra along the side seams. Once you've done that for both sides, now you want to flip your piece inside out. You can do so by gently tucking it in on itself and pulling on the strings. You now have the back piece of your swimsuit ready. Now we will do the same for the front piece as we did with our back piece. Now you will sew straight across the top, a ½ inch away from the edge. Again, remembering to stretch slightly as you sew to allow stretch when you have your bathing suit on. Clip about 3 triangular shaped notches about an inch or so apart along the curve on both sides. This will allow the swimsuit bottom to curve to your body. Now you're going to gently pull your strings through the bottom hole, flipping your swimsuit right side out. Lie the front piece flat, and you are going to want to attach the back piece to it by the crotch area. Pin both sides first, and then you will pin in the middle. Now take the bottom through your sewing machine, sewing a ½ inch away from the edge. Sew a zigzag stitch right next to the stitch you just made for security, and trim off any extra. Now your bottom is pretty much done, so you can get ready to just set that aside for now. Get your 2 triangles for your top, take a safety pin and attach it to the end of your string and slip it through the top that you left out of the triangle. Remove the safety pin, pull the string down slightly until it is flush with the top, and you just want to pin it in place. Now repeat the same for the other triangle. Now you're going to want to take it to your sewing machine and sew straight across the top, closing up the hole that you left earlier. This attaches the string to the triangle. Trim any extra off the top, and also trim kind of close to the seams at the top, so when you flip it right side out, it won't be bulky. Now you want to pull the string to flip your piece right side out. Repeat this for the second piece. Trim off where the seam allowance hangs below the bottom of the bikini top. I kind of skipped a step before flipping it inside out. It's not absolutely necessary since these aren't professional. These are just for our wear. Now you want to take the bottom. The piece is pretty much reversible, so it doesn't matter which way you do it. Take the bottom and fold it up about 1/2 inch. You want to do this going all the way across, making sure to take both pieces, because this is a double layer, and fold them both up. Trim off the extra that hangs over the side. Now you're going to want to sew this 1/2 inch away from the edge and sew it on the wrong side, just to assure that you are sewing through all, well, technically 4 layers of the fabric now, because you have the 2 layers and then you have the 2 layers folded up, if that makes sense. This is pretty much creating a tube for the string that will tie around your back to go through. Now I'm just going to trim off the extra strings because they really irk me, you guys, but this can actually be saved until the end of the project. After both pieces are done, you are going to want to take your safety pin and pin the end of the long string that you made to go around below your bust. You're going to take this and you're going to string it through the bottom, the tube that we made earlier. And you're going to do this through both pieces, adjusting it till you get it right. There is another method where you can actually sew the string onto the bikini bottoms, but I like this method because sometimes some girls like their bikini closer together on the boob area, and some girls like it pulled further apart. Pull on and adjust the string until it is even on both sides. Now your bikini is done. You're going to want to either take the ends and tie them in a knot and trim off the extra, or you can just run it through your sewing machine really quickly. It's totally up to you. Also, my strings are really short because I was using scrap fabric, but the measurements I will give you will allow your strings around your underbust to be a lot longer. Now you can go in and trim off any loose strings. Okay, so for my fellow baby B cups, I am including this optional step, which will be adding padding on the inside. You know we love our push. Like I said, it's optional. You really don't have to do this. What you want to do is pull the 2 pieces of fabric away from each other. Whichever side you want to be your inside, you're just going to make a little snip, making sure not to cut through but 1 layer of the fabric. You want to repeat this on the other side as well. Now you want to lay it flat and you want to widen your slit just a little bit, again making sure to only cut through 1 layer of fabric. Now you want to take your padding and roll it up and slide it up into your bikini top through the hole you just made. And you want it to be where the curve is obviously facing toward, it's curving toward the outside of the bikini. I'm having a little trouble here because these are actually for a sports bra, so they are a bit big. I would have personally used smaller ones, but just for the purpose of showing you guys how to do this, I will use these. Do whatever adjusting you need to do and repeat this step for the other side. Guess what, guys? We are now done. You just really made a string bikini. How freaking awesome is that? So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I did pretty well on explaining everything. If you decide to try this, please send me pictures to my email. I will leave that in the description. See you guys later.